to announce the winner of the election.
I wore my Trump red. Doug didn't care.
Cheers to Donald Trump losing. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, bro. Yes, I think we're in for it. All right, ever since he dodged the bullet. So, Fox News, MSNBC, or ABC? What do you want to watch? ABC. All right. Can't stand any of the others. Fox News is full of shit. And they're just going to be calling it for Trump the whole night and probably so. MSNBC's got Rachel tonight. I mean, let's Tucker Carlson of the left. Yeah.
This is an ABC News election update. Now reporting, David Muir.
Good morning. It's now 5:35 here in the East. We are allowing all of our stations across the country to join us now with the breaking news. We are projecting at this hour the 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump, will be elected to return to the White House. Not consecutive terms. We mentioned a moment ago as we were on our air with our coverage, the first since Grover Clear. To serve non-consecutive.
Because America, baby.
Turning to the White House as the 47th president of the United States. He does so with Wisconsin now in his win column. Of course, there are enough states off the map that still looks six wrapped in, baby. But Wisconsin win state that's put him over.
And how can Darren Muir have such a straight face?
Kamala Harris
I shouldn't have a straight face. Trump won?
I'm going to quickly...
There's no way.
So that
It's a convicted felon? Educated rapist? No way.
Educated rapist? Did you just call him an educated rapist?
Educated. How do you say it?
Adjudicated?
Thank you. He's not alleged. He's now judged as a rapist.
What do you think adjudicated means?
And he did not.
He's been judged.
Well, yes.
Because not only does he will,
Yes, it would be
a decisive,
here we go, baby.
it seems like he's on the verge of winning the popular vote as well.
You think they saved the cage?
This is a White House.
Oh,
Where you are right, when you consider the way he left the White House.
outfit.
He comes back to the White House with a mandate. The majority of the American people, it seems, ultimately, by the votes are counted, will be saying they want Donald Trump to be president now.
And they expect us to go to
That
bed.
is the challenge of uniting a deeply divided
What am I going to wake up to?
country.
How?
The nearly half the country
Oh, man.
It says 87% of the vote in. Is there any way she can still get it?
simply didn't want it in the White House.
No.
It was a threat. So now the question is, how does he convince
People just didn't show up.
that he can be a
This guy said that people view Trump as a threat. Yeah.
one of the central questions we'll make forward. You're absolutely right, John. One of the questions, and looking back, and there will be many of them, come for this White House.
I don't know.
You covered the White
I'm going
House.
to go to bed and let him go saying,
A lot of people.
maybe I'll wake up from this nightmare.
His decision to bow out after that horrible debate performance in June.
What the hell's going on?
It's a good question.
I'm glad I'm Italian. I'm not white.
You kind of are.
Why does it have to be the big chicken? Why does it have to be the big chicken?
Why do you have to say it like that? I was right, and you were racist.
It's Britney, bitch.
I still have a belief that Sasquatch is out there, but that doesn't make me crazy. And you give me that face, and this is my issue. You're a questionable person.
This is a podcast where Rick, a Generation Xer, and Tim, a millennial, come together and try to find answers to our changing world.
Break it down with Rick and Tim. All right.
My name is Rick,
My name is Tim.
and this is
Break it down
with.
Rick and Tim.
And this podcast tonight is one that I did not think I would ever have to do.
You didn't predict that you would ever have to do this ever again?
No,
You didn't
because
predict
Trump
4 more years
lost.
of this malarkey?
Trump lost 4 years ago. How
did
the
lose
hell
4
could
years
he
ago.
have won again?
People got complicit, and people
Are stupid.
well, Democrats didn't have their act together, and they weren't prepared for this, and it just...
But we saw those
was
rallies. People
We
were
saw-
showing up for Kamala's rallies.
You know who those people were, Rick? Those are people who are going to vote for Kamala Harris no matter what. Those are people who were going to vote for Biden, and they're like, great, we got somebody else. Everybody look who we have. And so let's go out and support her. It wasn't the people who were on the fence necessarily. It wasn't the people, that were like, ooh, I don't know about her. It was the people who were going to vote for her.
She was going to get Pennsylvania.
Was she, though?
And it went to Trump. I don't want to sound like an election denier, but how the hell? How? I can't say the word right, but you know what I'm talking about. Adjudicated rapist, convicted felon, the biggest liar, insurrectionist, who led a coup on our Capitol on January 6th. After all of that, people, what, because of the price of eggs and gasoline?
Exactly. Because they have been told that he's going to do better for the economy. He's going to do better for their pockets. And people right now, I get it. We should very much care about all of the things that Kamala Harris supports and that the Democrats support. We need to be woke. But right now, people don't got time to be woke because they're worried about if they're going to be able to keep their house, if their job is going to be able to provide enough to put money on the table, to put money on the table, to put food on the table. At the end of the day, the important issue, and I think I showed this to my class before the election. I said, look right here. And here's a poll that shows what the most important issue is to people. And if you look at the polls, the most important issue top two most important issues is the economy, right? And then right below that is civil rights and such, or human rights and such. And so the thing, though, is that the one that's more important is the economy. Right? And that's the one the Republicans are focused on, or were focused on, that Trump was focused on, is everybody's going to do better. The price of groceries is going to go down, all that stuff. But the one that the Democrats focused on was the wokeness one, that human
identity.
rights, that it was
identity politics.
Well, yeah, it's identity politics. I'd actually believe I don't know, I need to have the chart with me, but I believe it was healthcare. And healthcare is one of those basic human rights and mainly to do with women's rights. And that's important, but the most important thing to people is the economy. And the Democrats didn't focus on that at all. So a lot of people were just like, we're not ready for that yet. We got to fix the economy before. We got to make America great again before we can focus on the woke shit.
Was that it? Or is it because she was a woman? America hates women.
Well, I think that's jumping to a very pointed conclusion. I think
she had more votes than Hillary Clinton. She had more votes than Barack Obama. And it's still not enough.
What was she speaking about? What was she
turning the page?
On what?
She wanted the middle class
to
be protected. She wanted to offer new home buyers a tax break.
Okay.
Remember that?
Okay, yeah.
What else did she want to do? Keep jobs here at home.
What was the thing that she focused on, though? Those are the things she kind of set on the sides. Those are like
that's what I remember her saying.
I don't know if I remember her saying that.
When President Biden and I took office, we decided to invest in the working people of America, to create millions of jobs.
I don't think I remember her saying any of that.
That is why I believe in my soul and heart the American people are ready to turn the page.
I mean, maybe she did, but for those of us who were kind of, I guess I wasn't exposed to enough of her. I didn't deep dive into her.
My administration will provide first-time home buyers with $25,000 to help with the down payment on a new home.
So what I was shown was a lot of protecting women's rights and a lot of that kind of stuff, protecting everybody, human rights, a lot of focusing on protecting human rights.
Which doesn't matter anymore now.
Well, and I'm just curious as to why you didn't mention those things in your list. Because
I haven't gone down my list yet.
Oh, okay, because those were definitely her main sticking points.
Those are just off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah, well now, because you're like, where was she? And here's where she could have been. Here's where she should have focused on. She might have mentioned it once or twice, and when you deep dive into those things, you might find her mention it. But what was her repeated message every time she got on the stage?
Turn the page.
The American people deserve, which is a new way forward, and turn the page.
It is time to turn the page on the drama and the conflict And we have an opportunity in this election to finally turn the page on a decade of politics driven by fear and division. We are done with that.
Yes.
So she kept saying over
Turn
and
the
over
page.
again.
And what does that mean? But what was her
Moving forward.
Yes, moving forward. But what does that mean?
It is a metaphor that is meant to also describe my intention to embark on a new generation of leadership. And needless to say, mine will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring to it my own ideas, my own experiences.
Well, to me, it means we're not going back.
What does that mean?
We're not
Back for
going to
what?
have 4 more years of that hell.
Okay, there you go. So we're not going to be Donald Trump for another 4 years, right? So what was her message to people? What was she going to do?
Turn the page.
I said it then, I say it now. It's time to turn the page.
Exactly. She had no message, is what you're saying. And you're right. She had no message. She had,
But that was her message, though.
but it wasn't a message. It wasn't a
Okay,
message on
we
anything.
saw
it was
how-
it was an empty message. It was hope. Because people actually wanted change and hope. And then when Barack Obama got into office and kind of didn't offer change and hope, especially when he had, what essentially Donald Trump's going to have here is a House, a Senate, and pretty much a Supreme Court. And he ran on hope, and he didn't provide much hope. He didn't provide the hope that he had promised, and because of bipartisanship and BS. But people believed it. Now, Kamala Harris comes and runs on similar message. People are skeptical. People are going to be skeptical. I understand the skepticism.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
We saw the debate. I was over at your house. We watched the debate and how bad he performed about how people in Ohio, the Haitians, are eating the dogs and the cats. Remember all that? I mean,
all
just
that stuff. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I mean, it was nuts. It was absolute nuts. But again, people don't care about the nuts balls about it. That's the performance. That's the show. People like the gaslighting.
WWE.
Exactly. I went to a flippin' hockey game, Portland Winterhawks, one time, and you know when the crowd cheered the loudest? When people fought. When the players fought each other. That's what people went for. They didn't go to watch a hockey game. I went to watch some, teenagers beat the crap out of each other. That's why they don't have any teeth.
So half our country doesn't care.
What do you mean? Define that.
Doesn't care. Half our
Tell
country,
me care about what?
Our country is divided.
Right. What does half our country not care about? You have to be specific, because when you say don't care, there's many. It depends on the perspective, because they very much do care, which is why which is why Donald Trump got the most votes there. They care about law and order. They want the immigrants gone. The immigrants are breaking the law, so let's get them out.
But they're also spoon-fed
right?
information.
They're also exactly right now. The immigrants, they've been spoon-fed the idea that immigrants are the ones breaking the law, so they have a solution to that.
But as
right?
Trump
law and order
does-
is very much their shtick here. It's who to use law and order on.
Trump continues to lie every single day.
Yes.
And he just recently lied about the guy that ran over those people
Right.
in Louisiana.
He said they were an
and that
immigrant
terror-
because it feeds the narrative that
but
he wants people to buy.
And Fox News finally checked him on it.
Yeah, Fox News has a reputation they have to kind of uphold, and if it comes out that they're just lying to their base like that, and the media is doing that, it's not the media's thing. So, yeah, I get it. But to say they're not law and order, they are very much law and order, but they're very much using the law and order for their benefit and gain. And in this case, it's to get rid of all the immigrants. And when I hear that, I kind of have a prediction about that. So I have a feeling that the immigration plan that we have seen unfold, or we're going to see unfold, is going to involve a deportation of illegals within our country who generally they're going to be our migrant workers, because their visas expire and then they're supposed to self-deport and then come back when the season's right, which doesn't make any sense, I guess. And I could be wrong on that. I'm not an expert. I will maybe double check that. And the problem is that that's like the number one cause of like illegal immigration is like overstaying a visa, like a work visa. And so those migrant workers, they're the ones they're going to deport. And if they do that, they're going to wreck the economy or the agricultural economy, at least, of those states. I have a feeling that it's going to be targeted in blue states. They're going to target blue states immigration, and it's going to be probably us here in our
Gavin
city
Newsom's
eventually.
getting prepared for
Oh,
that.
I'm sure they all are in our West Coast.
Now, we're now learning additional cities where Donald Trump intends on conducting mass deportations. It's not just Chicago. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump's team is preparing plans for mass deportations in Boston, Washington, D.C., Miami, New York City, Denver, and San Antonio. These raids are scheduled to begin as soon as Tuesday. Now, the scale of the raids and the influx of ICE and CBP agents, however, is still in flux right now. Right now, the federal government simply does not have enough manpower to do what Donald Trump is trying to do. And the Pope has actually called out Donald Trump, saying that his mass deportation plan would be, quote, a calamity.
So who's going to be picking the strawberries out in the fields? Who's going to be washing the dishes at Applebee's? Who's going to be the maid, changing the bedding
I would
at
tell
the hotels?
those housewives to go out and pick their own goddamn grape wine, whatever shit. Stomp that out in the little bucket.
It's not just illegals that are being threatened. It's also children of illegals that are born here.
Oh, yeah. So so from what I understand, those that have talked about that, the idea would be to end birthright citizenship so that they can't do that anymore. Because there's this idea of what they would call, back in the day, and I don't know if it's appropriate to call it this now, but they called them anchor babies.
White House official in the incoming Trump administration has confirmed they will begin working to end birthright citizenship in America on day one of his tenure. Trump does recognize that this would likely need a constitutional amendment because birthright citizenship is essentially if you were born in the United States, you get to have citizenship. And they want to end that to be able to deport children born here in the United States with their families who may not have been.
You have illegals who came over to the United States, had their baby, and their baby is an American citizen, and it makes it easier for them to get citizenship. They can stay in the United States because they have an American citizen kid. That's an anchor baby. And that's been a hot topic for a very long time. And Donald Trump is basically like saying, look, I want to end anchor babies. I want to end birthright citizenship. I want to make it so that illegals can't come over here and have their baby and then their baby's an American citizen. If your parents are illegal immigrants, you're an illegal immigrant baby.
That's scary. We know someone
that's
who's
Trump's
not
America,
a citizen, and we know someone. We know her children.
Yeah, but her children, they have a citizen father.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that's going to stop them from being taken away?
The children? It'll stop the children from being taken away, but the mother maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens.
Are they going to be loading the trains?
The trains? No, but if we talk about the immigration issue, Stephen Miller has laid out a plan that involves staging grounds. He says his two-part plan is to seal the border and deport the illegals, deport all the illegals. And there's a clip to that right here.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
CBS News has also confirmed Stephen Miller, a vocal advocate for strong immigration policies during Trump's first term, will be deputy chief of staff for policy.
And basically, he wants to make staging grounds close to airports or around airports where then we bring the illegals and we hold them there, and then we kind of like the internment camps with the Japanese. And then we fly them back to their countries. So we don't just fly them across one border. We fly them to whatever country they came from, or we fly them to a safe third country. Which, if we talk about what a safe third country is a country that we've agreed that if an immigrant goes through it, and we deport them to that safe third country because that safe third country is supposed to be a safe country for them to immigrate to. And it's Guatemala, and it's not a safe third country. Although, according to our government, it is a safe third country. But it is definitely not. It cannot handle all the immigrants. But all the immigrants kind of have to go through it. So that's kind of our plug.
Here's where I'm concerned. You're here legally.
Yeah.
And you are charged for something, you break a law, you commit a crime, whatever. Could they use that law right there to boot you back to the country you originally came from? What's stopping them?
That's a good question.
You ran the stop sign. You ran the stop sign. The police got you. Are you talking back to me, sir?
right? Are you doing anything that I can constitute as an assault?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's easy because cops do that all the time.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and maybe I'm sure there are cop people out there like, no, they don't. But let's be real, they do. Like, I mean, that's true. I've seen it. Right? I had I was working with the Native community, and this 13-year-old girl ran from our facility, and she was on probation or something, so we had to call the police. And they showed up with like 5 huge male cops, and they didn't even ask questions. They just grabbed her and threw her against the cop car. Just tunk. And I was like, whoa, she's 15, slow down, she's a kid. And they're like, we don't fucking care, right? It was nuts.
They said that?
Yeah, kind of. It was nuts. They put her in handcuffs, threw her in the back of the car, and drove her back to the facility. And then they had her sit there with a cop who was, young guy, probably around my age. And she just started mouthing off to him, and he just got escalated and was like, I'm going to throw you back in the car. And I was just like, I just had to step in between this guy and her and just be like, bro, she's 15 and she's controlling you. You need to take a step back. And he's like, well, we're trained to escalate higher than they're escalated. And I'm like, that's the worst training you could ever have. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. That's why you shoot people. Right? If you're going to escalate to the higher to higher than they are, and they, you feel like they're escalating, and you're like, well, I'm just going to escalate a little higher. And then we see this, it's a bell curve, and we see this in like schools and in social work. It's called co-escalation, where you escalate as the caregiver, essentially, with the other person that you're trying to care for. They're going up this bell curve, and they're getting more escalated, and they're taking you with you. And this cop is telling me that they're trained to go up that bell curve and get up there higher so that they can stop them when they get up there. And it's like, well, that's stupid. That's why you shoot people.
And don't forget, Trump wants to give police total power. For 1 hour.
That's true.
Remember, he said just 1 hour.
Yeah. I don't recall that. Let's look at that.
We have to let the police do their job. And if they have to be extraordinarily rough. Now, if you had one really violent day, like a guy like Mike Kelly, put him in charge, Congressman Kelly, put him in charge for one day. Mike, would you say, he's right here. He's a great congressman. Would you say, Mike, that if you were in charge, you would say, oh, please, don't touch them. Don't touch them. Let them rob your store. All these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent. The city doesn't have money. It's a chain of events that's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out, and it will end immediately.
Let's put a military man in charge and have him go in. And this is the fear that Trump might do this to Mexico, right? Let's go in and just take out the cartels. I hear what he's saying. And this is something because I worked with some students in a community that was the highest risk in my city. And these students would tell me that they would steal. And I was like, why? Why do you steal? And they go, because we can. Because they can't do anything about it. We just go in and take the stuff and we walk out. I'm like, okay, but here's the problem, and I think we've mentioned this before on the show, but when you do that, then the store is going to close because eventually they're hurting
their own communities.
Well, they're hurting their own communities because the store is not going to be able to be insured, and the store is going to be, and at the end of the day, you're right, they're hurting their own communities by doing that.
And here's what's going to happen. You're going to have cities like Portland have the protesters go to war with the police again.
Because there's unrest. Because what happens is those let me go back to those stores because we kind of do it to ourselves. Because we protest a lot because we see this like corporate pullout of our at-risk communities. Right? Do you remember when all the Targets kind of shut down?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when the Walmarts shut down? People were protesting that.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of the day, like, you kind of have to agree with the stores. Like, they're losing too much money. And it's not fair to the community to give the people that just take advantage of that opportunity. So it makes sense that those stores pull out. And I told my students it was going to happen, and then it did. And the stores, of course, say, well, it's not a theft issue, but it is. And then people cry, oh, well, now you're just pulling out of the communities of color because it's racism. Well, it's not really racism. It's numbers. It's theft. It's the insurance. It sucks.
So
but that's the way it works.
In Trump's
vision
for America,
he just wants
the police to just shoot him.
Well, maybe
Extraordinarily rough.
Extraordinarily rough.
Yeah.
Right?
So what's going to happen? They're going to be shooting kids now?
Well, I mean, or beating them.
Not all police are bad.
No, not all police
Some
are
are
bad.
now going to be like, oh,
sure.
I got a green light to be extra rough.
And and there's a culture that's, an us versus them that has emerged, and that kind of sucks. It
and
sucks
they do
for
take care of themselves. They have their own culture.
They do, right?
Yeah. And they have to.
Well,
but at the same time, don't break the law.
The idea of the shield, right? You are shielded from prosecution of breaking the law. And that's the problem with this idea of the shield. It's like you can go out and break the law and you're shielded from it, but that's not the way it should be. You should be held accountable for what you do. It's nuts.
I wanted to mention some of the lies that Trump said before the election.
Many lies.
Trump lied incessantly and still won. Should the Democrats do the same?
No.
Donald Trump said violent
crime. Are you going to...
I just posed that question.
Okay, well, let's talk about it then.
Trump lied incessantly and still won. Should the Democrats do the same?
Do you think the Democrats should lie?
I think they all lie, to be honest.
Of course.
I don't trust the politicians.
No, well, but
it's like choosing your poison.
Yes, and when you think about it too, like at what caliber of lie, right? Because it feels like the Democrats are more shady with it. They're more, not necessarily I'm going to lie to you, but I'm going to pick and choose the truths that I'm going to tell you. And where Donald Trump is more blatant about it. Just like I'm going to say it until it becomes true kind of lie.
For example, Donald Trump said violent crime was exploding across the United States.
That's not true.
He said Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio were
eating the dogs.
They're eating the cats.
And eating the cats and eating the animals.
Were they?
No.
He said the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, diverted disaster relief money to fund benefits for people in the country illegally.
No.
Trump lied incessantly.
As a matter of fact, FEMA had to come out and say, hey, stop spreading lies because they were trying to help people. And they were getting like threats because of all the lies going around about FEMA. It was nuts. It was crazy. We can't save our own asses without shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Well, shooting ourselves in the America dick, which is Florida. Just kind of hangs off there, no ball sack.
Trump lied incessantly and extravagantly in his bumptious bid for president after racking up more than 30,500 false or misleading statements during 4 years in the White House, according to fact checkers at the Washington Post.
Yeah.
Trump won anyway. Some voters might even backed him because of his relentless lies.
Exactly.
Which raises several questions. In honesty, as in telling the truth, no longer a requirement for seeking and holding public office?
No, it's not.
Has veracity become one of the quaint relics of a bygone era?
Mm-hmm. Because again, it's not about the truth. It's about what you get at the end of the day from it. Nobody cares about what he says as long as he puts money in their pocket. Which the unfortunate thing is it's not going to be that way for most Americans. For a lot of Americans that make a lot of money, they're going to make a lot more. It reminds me of like crypto. Because like meme coin, right? Because it's all based on everybody's like support of it, right? But at the end of the day, the people who make money are the ones that pump it up and get excited about it and then pull the rug out from everybody else, right? And that's essentially what's happening here is Trump got everybody excited about this, especially the poor people. Or the people in poverty, saying that this is going to be good for everybody. We're going to see a great economy, and we're going to see American products. And that one there is an interesting one. We're going to talk about that in a second. But he basically took all these people for a ride, and he's going to pull the rug out from under him, possibly. We don't know yet because he hasn't done it yet, but he's primed himself to pull the rug out. And one of the ways you can kind of tell is right before he went for his Time magazine interview, when he was having that little speech that he accepted it and he was all proud of it, he said he was going to lower grocery prices. And then when
now he's saying he can't.
Well, he went into the interview and said that he couldn't. It was like the most ridiculous. It was like the most obvious flip-flop in like a short period of time. It was just nuts.
And a lot of people voted because of that.
Yeah. And we're coming up on the Trump tax cuts, which were really good for the rich people. And guess what he's excited to do? Extend those. I'll bet he's extending to extend those. Ew.
Should candidates of any and every persuasion feel free to emulate Trump and lie their heads off? What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Well, I think they already do, but they're not. I think the thing about Trump is that he I don't know, dude. I think they all lie. I think it's
not
just
like him.
Not like him. Oh, he lies blatantly, and I just think that he's not necessarily all there. To be honest with you, when he gets into those modes where he starts talking, he just kind of lets his brain go, and his brain just kind of vomits. And a lot of the stuff that it comes out of his mouth is bullshit. And the funny part is that when he catches himself in his own lie, he tries to weave his way out of it, doing the weave. And
it becomes word salad.
Yeah, it becomes the weave. And I think a lot of politicians do that.
Did he win because of Elon Musk endorsing him and giving him money?
I think that he won because of a few things. I think he spoke to the people that he spoke to the working class. A lot of the working class listened to like the Joe Rogan podcast, right? And
which Kamala did not do.
She was going to, and here's one of those reasons why I think she lost is because when I heard that
missed opportunity,
when I heard that she was going on the Joe Rogan podcast before Trump, I was like, bam, she's got it in the bag. That's it. Because then she'd be speaking to the base that she needs to. She's branching out of the safe zone, which is what she was just reveling in that whole time. I'm having all these rallies, but it's with the people that already support me. But look, we can get more supporters, maybe. Let's go. Let's throw people out there. We'll get people out there to talk. She decided to pull out of the Joe Rogan podcast because she didn't want to talk for 3 hours. And that's what the Joe Rogan podcast shtick is. 3 hours so that you can get into the weeds. You can get into the nitty gritty. And she didn't want to do that. And I feel like that turned a lot of people off because his audience is huge.
Whoa. Like, I don't know what they're saying, but I can tell that that's a language.
That's a lot of voters.
Yeah.
And then Donald Trump went on and did exactly what Kamala should have done. Talk to the people. It sucked.
I'm going to show you this clip, Tim, of Kamala being on The View where Sunny Hostin asks her if there was anything different she would have done from Biden.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to see this clip.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Yeah, I saw that stuff when she just kind of froze.
And said there was nothing she would have done differently. Well, did that cost her the election?
No.
You don't think? But the amount of people watching The View.
How many people watch The View?
Millions.
Show me.
2 million.
So how many people watch the Joe Rogan podcast? 18.8 million. Total views, 5.73 billion. So, again, it
Joe
goes
Rogan's
back.
got a bigger reach.
He's got a much bigger reach. Wow. I don't think Kamala wrecked herself on The View. I think The View reaches a few people that probably those who watch.
She's preaching to the choir.
Yeah. She's preaching to the choir. And at the end of the day, I got to stop saying that. The situation, Kamala Harris fumbled that, and what she should have said was, and what she should have focused on is the fact that she wasn't the president, right? As vice president, your job is not to push your agenda. Your job is to push the president's agenda. And so from her perspective, her job, probably what she was doing was pushing Joe's agenda, and what she was doing was probably working. some of the things. Maybe some of the things weren't. But she was doing what he wanted her to do. And that's her job. And people are always like, well, she was in office. She was, vice president. Well, tell me what power vice president has. Tell me.
Yeah.
What power does she have?
You're just there and waiting.
Exactly. You're just waiting to take over. And Joe was probably doing his thing. And it drives me crazy that people fall for such bullshittery because it's right in your face. Take a step back. Just look at it. Doesn't make any sense.
I'm sure that comment she made didn't help her.
Sure, it probably didn't help her, but it didn't cost her the election.
And then Sunny Hostin was on a podcast show saying I don't have that kind of power.
But one of the things that keeps coming up is, did Sunny Hostin personally cost Kamala Harris the election with her question?
Oh, wow. I wish I had that much power because I would have flipped it in the other way.
Yeah, sure.
She doesn't.
But millions watched the show.
2 million.
Yeah, that's millions.
A couple million.
Yeah. And then it made news afterward. Then all the news channels were sharing it to their millions of viewers.
Sure.
So, yeah, it is a domino effect.
There is a domino effect, but I don't think it had the reach that you think it does.
I've been known to be wrong once or twice in my life.
I'm just saying. I think most of the viewers now are like online. A lot of people don't even watch TV.
Did you know that Elon was the single largest donor in the 2024 election cycle?
Sure, I believe it. I mean, we're at that point. Look, he bought Twitter. What's to stop him from buying an election?
Or this country. Apple's Tim Cook just dined recently with Trump at Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago.
He wants regulations lifted for his Apple products. He said this after the election. Congratulations, President Trump, on your victory. We look forward to engaging with you and your administration to help make sure the United States continues to lead with and be fueled by ingenuity, innovation, and creativity.
Okay, so let's talk about what Trump's actual plan for the economy is, because what he told people was like, I can lower, prices for groceries, and I can bring manufacturing back to the United States and bring, everything back to the United States. What does that mean? I think people were kind of misled as to what that meant. And they thought, these tariffs are going to be good for the economy. Well, it's going to be good for American manufacturing. And it goes back to competition. It's like, let's take, for instance, like these sodas. I'm drinking a Diet Thunder and you're drinking a Pepsi. Now, when you go to the store, which costs more? Mm-hmm. Pepsi, right? Because Dr. Diet Thunder here is a cheap brand from another company. It's not name brand. And that's what basically China has done for everything, right? And so what Trump has said is we want people to buy Pepsi. So we're going to put a tariff on your Dr. Thunder, and it's going to raise the price of your Dr. Thunder so that it costs the same, if not a little bit more, than your Pepsi. So he's actually planning on raising the prices of all those cheap Chinese goods that we love so much.
And Americans are going to be paying for it.
Well, but American manufacturers and American companies are going to be able to compete a lot better, because now people are going to say, well, if it costs $1.50 for a Dr. Thunder or $1.50 for a Pepsi, I'll go with a Pepsi. But here's what I predict is going to happen. The Dr. Thunder is going to go up to $1.75, and the Diet Pepsi that's $1.50 is going to raise to $1.65. So that Pepsi can make a little more money. And there's still, and it's going to raise the prices of everything. And who's going to suffer? Oh, the American people. Oh.
My Star Wars figure is going to be costing a lot more money now.
Yeah. Everything's going to cost more, because where do a lot of those products come from? And then if they do have competition in the United States, that just means that the prices of that competition is probably going to go up too. It's going to be great.
So we just heard from Tim Cook, Mr. Apple.
Okay.
OpenAI ChatGPT CEO Sam Altman is planning to make a $1 million personal donation to Trump's inauguration fund. Amazon and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, confirmed this week they had each donated $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund.
Woo!
All these billionaires,
of course,
are just kissing the ring, and
because Trump has a huge ass to kiss, right? And everybody knows that he likes being,
stroked.
Stroked is the word we're going to use That's fun.
How else how to describe it?
That's true. He does. And so all these big. Okay. So here's the genius of Elon Musk. He has come out and he has basically said with the Department of Energy Efficiency, I can cut, basically whatever I want. So think about this. We have been trying for years to get broadband internet to every American. And that means running fiber optic cables out to the middle of nowhere and such like that. He wants to cut all that stuff. Why? Because if we cut all that infrastructure that we've been building for years, he can take over that contract with Starlink and he gets a huge payout.
Which is satellite internet.
Yeah. So he's probably ripping apart, parts of the government that don't benefit him or his buddies, probably just him. And then he's going to do things that are going to benefit, him and his company. He's taken over. And the crazy part is that we as Americans are like cool with it. We're like, okay, that's cool. Elon Musk is a smart guy. Yeah. But he's doing this not just in America. He's doing this. He just penned an article for the crazy right-wing groups over in Germany, right? I mean,
he is a bigger danger than Donald Trump.
It's not. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because he has the money. He has the money.
He's not crazy like that Howard Hughes guy.
No.
Elon Musk is scary.
Okay. You might want to watch this.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
I'm sorry. What did I just watch?
Well, yeah, because he has the potential to really impact, like, in the long term,
the entire
world. And he, had the opportunity to cure hunger. He asked, the world, crowdsourced a plan and said, if anybody has a plan, we'll do it. And somebody had a plan, and he was like, psych. I mean, that's Elon Musk, though, right? Just kind of a disappointment when it comes to doing the right thing.
Luigi Mangione.
Oh, boy.
Where are you when we need you?
Oh, my God. Let's talk about him for a brief moment. Murder, good or bad?
Murder is wrong. I do not agree with it. However, sometimes it takes murder, like Marie Antoinette, to get the message across.
Sure.
Unfortunately. And now all these healthcare CEOs are now afraid of danger, like we are as teachers.
I'm a teacher. I go to work every day worried that I'm going to get shot. Yeah. And now they're kind of feeling the same thing, and they're going, oh, we need to do something about this, right? But where are they freaking out, and where's the media perp walking, the school shooters and whatnot? I mean, this is insane. I mean, you see the fear that all of a sudden erupts when the people who think they're untouchable get vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, now there needs to be a change.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to me. I think murder is wrong. We should not endorse it.
However, I have a list.
However,
I'm Italian.
I do think that it's important that that people feel the reality of the world we live in.
And the world they've created.
I mean, look at this guy.
Hand in creating.
Right? A gun that was 3D printed, right? We love our guns so much in America.
And what were the 3 magic bullets?
Oh,
deny,
defend, oppose, or something like that.
Yes.
Just also, and I've never heard good stories from somebody who's been, in a situation with their insurance. Maybe once or twice I've heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, insurance paid for it all," but a lot of the times it's, "Oh, I'm dealing with the insurance company. They don't want to pay out. They're dragging their feet. They're doing some bullshit." It's constant, and a lot of those people are a lot of like my friends who are at risk, who don't have a lot of money, who are, poor. They're just easily taken advantage of.
Are we a cacistocracy, a government?
Cacistocracy?
A government by the least suitable or competent citizens of a state?
We are all wearing Crocs. And by that, I mean, if you go watch the movie Idiocracy, True story. The costume designer was supposed to find a shoe that was ugly. So he found a little company named Croc or whatever. And he's like, look at these shoes. They're awful. And the director was like, well, what if they become popular? And he's like, they're so ugly. How could they ever become popular? So the entire movie, everybody's wearing Crocs. And with the idea that they're going to be ugly, terrible shoes that nobody's ever going to want. And they're just going to die. Well, they've become popular. Everybody has Crocs.
Aren't they comfortable?
No.
I don't have a pair, so I don't know.
Crocs are like a foam-based shoe or something like that. They're gardening shoe or something, I think they call them. But they're not comfortable and they're ugly, but people wear them.
Okay, so how does that lend itself to kakistocracy?
Because in the movie, that's the point. They put in charge idiots.
Thank you. Oligarchy.
Yeah, oligarchy. That's kind
of
of
a
what
small
we
group
are.
of people having control of a country, organization, or institution.
We're turning into that. Because, I mean, look who's controlling everything, Elon Musk.
Or are we a blend of things like...
Of course we're a blend of things.
Like corporatocracy, a society or system that is governed or controlled by corporations.
That's kind of what we are, right? And we're a little bit of democracy because we kind of have a choice, but it's all about where the money flows because at the end of the day, it's whoever raises the most money. And we as a country went ahead and decided that you can put as much money into the elections as you want because Citizens United, money is speech, and that's protected by the Constitution. So your ability to donate as much money as you want is protected by the Constitution, which means money speaks power to truth.
The Republicans won the popular vote the first time in 20 years.
Yeah, they did.
And the reason is because of the economy?
The economy. Inflation was going up. It was out of control. And here's the sad part. A lot of people were getting frustrated with where the Democrats were going. The economy's tanking. Inflation was high, and they're focusing on making sure that we have wokeness within all of the branches of everything. We want to make sure that we have diversity. We want to make sure everybody's being taken care of and all that stuff. We want to make sure that we have all these protections for all these people, and it got out of control. The wokeness got out of control, and people who were struggling are going, where's my money being spent? If we look at the line items, why is so much being spent on diversity and inclusion and equity and all this stuff that's just bullshit when we could be focusing on things that actually, impact me? Why are we focusing on diversifying our government when we need to focus on making sure that our taxes are low? We're spending so much money on this stuff. I can understand people's frustrations because, again, we're being taxed and we want to know our money is being spent wisely. And if we're just spending it on making sure that we're hiring the right amount of people and the right number of people and making sure people feel safe and comfortable in their working environment, that sounds like a lot of waste.
I'm going to ask you another question.
Okay.
Before you jump at the answer, I want you to think about the answer first. Is there going to be another election in 4 years?
I think so. Yes.
Will it be like a Putin election, or would it be a normal American election?
Well, see, and that's really what it comes down to. Will democracy's integrity hold through these 4 years? The only way that I can say yes is because the states have control theoretically over their federal election processes. Like the federal government isn't supposed to come in and tell Oregon you can't do mail-in ballots. Even though Donald Trump has said that those are the worst things in the world and we need to get rid of them. Technically, he shouldn't be able to. It shouldn't be constitutional.
I'm going to be a pessimist and say I don't think there's going to be an election.
Of course, you are the pessimist. You're also a conspiracy theorist. You believe in Bigfoot.
No, don't put words in my mouth. You know I don't believe in Bigfoot.
You did believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah, because I was stupid. Now I'm an educated man in graduate school, and there's no such thing as Bigfoot.
Sure.
All right, well, we'll see what happens in 4 years.
We'll see.
Maybe I won't even be alive.
Hopefully you will.
Maybe it'd be like another night of broken glass.
Oh, my God. It could be, and that's the crazy part.
On the night of November 9th, 1938, in Berlin, Vienna, and throughout Nazi Germany, synagogues, Jewish schools, and Jewish-owned businesses were torched, looted, desecrated, and destroyed by Nazi paramilitary troops and also by civilians. Tens of thousands of Jews were arrested. Many were beaten. Some were killed. This anti-Jewish riot is known as Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. Weeks later, Nazis escalated their persecution of Jews, forcing Jews out of their own businesses and banning Jewish children from German schools. Kristallnacht foreshadowed the violence, the genocide, the murder of 6 million Jews still to come.
It was on the eve of my mother's birthday. It was November the 9th, and my brother and I were very excited because it was going to be our mother's birthday the next day, November the 10th. And we had just about fallen asleep. Maybe it was around 11 o'clock. And all of a sudden, some bricks and rocks were being thrown through our window. And my brother, who's always been braver than I am, even though he's a year younger than I am, went to the window and he pulled himself up on the windowsill and he looked outside and he said, "It's our neighbors that are throwing the rocks and the bricks through the window." And he said our civil policeman that we knew very well was standing there on the outside of the crowd, and he was standing like this.
So these are people you knew, had a relationship with, were friends with?
Yeah. And the policeman did absolutely nothing to stop them. And so we were really very frightened. And we said, well, we're going to go to our parents' bedroom and find out what's happening. So while we were crossing the hall to go to our parents' bedroom, some of the people, some of our neighbors, had uprooted a telephone pole. And they smashed the telephone pole through our front door, which was made out, the panes were this beautiful color of green and red and blue, and they smashed through our door, and the glass fell all over our hallway. And their objective really was to get upstairs to the rabbi who lived on the second floor. The biggest objective for these people that had rammed the telephone pole through our front door was to go through our hall and vandalize some of our belongings, but really to get upstairs to the rabbi's apartment. And so we ran across the hall to our parents' bedroom, and they always had told us, they tried to protect us, they always had told us everything was going to be all right, don't worry, this is not going to last. And so my father said, well, let's go and hide up in that attic on the 4th floor where we'll be safe.
And this is what I tell my students. I'm like, at the end of the day, like the division of the first Civil War, it happened because states couldn't adjust to not having slaves, right? And there was nothing really in place that would support them in that change. If the government came in and said, okay, we're getting rid of slavery, we all agree on that, here is some steps we're going to take for you guys to make that change, right? Here's some subsidies, here's some, labor agreements or something like that would have made that change more palatable. But if we just pull the slavery rug out from under them, which sounds weird to say because that rug should be pulled, we still have to maintain that we are a country and we have allowed that to happen, and we need to fix it. So there needs to be a suitable change. Otherwise, those states are just going to be like, well, our economy's wrecked. Now we have to fight to get those slaves back so that we can start it up again.
I'm diverging a little bit, but since we're on this
I guess so am I.
topic, what could push our country to go into an actual, for real civil war? It's going to be money-based.
It could be money-based, but here's also what I think it might be. Here's one scenario. A girl over in Idaho, which is our neighbor, gets pregnant, and she can't get an abortion. So she comes over to Oregon and gets an abortion. And Idaho has a law that says, well, you need to extradite her to Idaho so we can prosecute her for murder. And Oregon says, nah, because in our Constitution, we say specifically that we're not going to extradite anybody for that. And then we have states that are no longer agreeing, and we ask the federal government to step in. The federal government steps in, and they can do a few things. One, Donald Trump says, well, it goes back to states' rights. The states have a right, and Oregon technically has to abide by the extradition treaties that all the states have, right? And then that's when Donald Trump decides to militarize the National Guard and says, Idaho National Guard, if you want, you can go into Oregon and get that girl. And Oregon is going to be like, nah, troops.
And that will be the end. That will be it right there.
That'll be the start. Because here's the other thing. Oregon doesn't have a huge amount of troops. We did have to rely on Washington and California.
Does, yeah.
And so it'd really be an alliance at that point. And then it would just be chaos. It would be, and it would probably happen. Because if you look at the map, it's going to happen along that border somewhere. Because that's really the most contentious, is really there. I mean, you look back in the day at where the divide was for the Civil War. It's similar, but now we have more states and we have more population in denser areas. Where all the dense population is, that's kind of where the blue states are. So it's going to be nuts.
Could it happen?
I hope not.
Could it happen?
Sure. Anything could happen. Anything's possible.
Trump not giving up power, or the United States entering a second civil war? Which one would you say?
Which is more likely?
Yes.
I think that it's a tough one. I think the Civil War is more likely because I think at the end of the day, Trump is going to be how old at the end of his term?
78 right now, so it'll be 82.
Be 82. You think that he wants to go till 86?
Well, he knows that if he gets out of office, then he's going to be a target for his crimes.
No, he won't, because he'll be irrelevant after that.
I don't know.
Why did they keep going after Trump?
Because he was relevant?
Yeah, because he was going to run again. Let's stop him, right? With but once, and that's the thing about like humanity and politics is once you're not relevant anymore, nobody cares, really. Look at how elections go. It always starts out as a huge party of people, and they go until they're important. When was the last time you really talked about Obama?
Who?
Bush.
Where was he?
Clinton.
Bush never came out to support Kamala, and everybody else did.
I think he did. Didn't
No,
he?
he did not. President Bush.
Oh, maybe
not.
he didn't.
He said he was retired.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He didn't support anybody.
That's all
He was
his
like,
fault.
F that.
George W., you let us down again. You're lucky you're a heterosexual white man.
And I don't have a target on my back. I can blend in, although I've already put myself out there, so they know where my politics are. I'm fucked. Well, and that's the other thing. Like with the AI coming, and you get like the tech people like Elon. All they gotta do is create a bot or something that scans the internet and has like a rating criteria, and it based on your posts and your social media and whatever information is available on the internet, they can rate your political standing, and then they can target you. Easy, boom, ta-da.
I'm sure that will happen.
Of course. And
They do that already with advertisements.
Oh, advertisement. They've been doing it for years, right? It's insane, right? And so how long until they know exactly who's on their side and whatnot? And I mean, it's and that's kind of where Elon Musk is, right? Why did he buy Twitter? He didn't buy Twitter because he wanted, all the followers. He bought Twitter because he wanted all the information. Right? Think of how much information flows on that network. And now he has an agreement that any information that flows on that network from now on can be used to train his AI bot. It's probably going to be racist as fuck. Twitter.
I'm keeping the bad words in.
Oh, hell yeah.
I haven't said any.
Okay, whatever.
And now it's time to Let's Quiz Tim.
Here we go. We're Let's doing this.
In what year was Kamala Harris elected senator?
Ooh, let's see here. I'm going to say, I don't know. Jesus. I'm going to say, so what year are we in right now? We're in 2024?
This is 2025.
2025. Oh.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
When did Kamala become a senator?
Kamala became a senator, I don't know, in 20... I'm going to say 2015.
House. 2017.
I was going to say 2017 originally, and then I was like, eh.
What state was she a senator for?
California?
Yep. Did Kamala win more votes than Obama?
Yes.
Obama had 65 million. Kamala had 75 million. Twitler had 77 million.
Twitler.
How many people voted in this past election?
Okay. I'm going to say... So Kamala had 77 or 75. Trump had he had like 80, 83, 85. I don't know. So I'm going to say 160 million.
Very good. It's about 147 million.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nearly 100 million eligible adults did not vote at all.
Yeah. Because Kamala didn't speak to them.
But those votes needed to be in those red states.
Maybe. I think a lot of them need to be in our... Well, yeah. But here's the thing. Like, I was talking to a buddy, and again, it comes down to that. He was like, at the end of the day, dude, I sat there and looked at my ballot, and I couldn't even vote because
Nearly 100 million eligible adults did not vote at all.
Yeah. Because Kamala didn't speak to them.
But those votes needed to be in those red states.
Maybe. I think a lot of them need to be in our... Well, yeah. But here's the thing. Like, I was talking to a buddy, and again, it comes down to that. He was like, at the end of the day, dude, I sat there and looked at my ballot, and I couldn't even vote because I wanted to vote for Kamala Harris because I couldn't vote for Donald Trump, but then I couldn't vote for Kamala Harris because...
She's a woman.
No. Because...
She's black.
No. Because...
She's a liberal.
No, because at the end of the day, the tax dollar. At the end of the day. No, because he was worried about keeping his house, and if he voted for Kamala Harris, he was convinced his tax dollars would go to stupid shit like DEI. And I know I'm saying that stupid shit, and it's not. But spending all that money, that's what they're viewing it as. It's a waste of money. Like, yes, it's important, but also, do we need to be pushing like that much when we have so many other issues that need to be addressed? We have a huge homeless crisis.
Who said this now famous quote? Sometimes the fight takes a while. Sometimes the fight takes a while.
I feel like that needs to be a Mike Tyson quote, but it's not because he would make it over in like the first round.
I'm going to give you a hint. She's a lady in waiting.
Is it Kamala Harris?
Yes.
Oh my God. All these are about Kamala Harris. And they don't even matter. We don't care about Kamala Harris anymore.
But originally this podcast episode was going to be about Kamala Harris.
But
these are my
she
notes.
don't matter anymore. All right. She doesn't.
She could run again.
Why would she?
Or maybe if we secede, she'd become our leader. Maybe if we secede, she could become our leader.
No, but here's I think Kamala...
We already voted for her.
I don't think Kamala Harris is going to be successful in running again because...
She's a woman.
Well, that's one thing.
And she's a person of color.
I don't think the person of color thing, because we'll elect a person of color.
She's a liberal.
I think she's that, and she had the wrong message.
Is that deja vu for you?
Anyway, keep going.
How much money did Elon Musk donate to Donald Trump?
I'm going to say...
I'm going to give you three options. I'm going to help you out.
Okay, is it in the 100 millions?
277 million.
Okay.
600 million. 2 billion.
I'm going to say 600 million.
277 million.
I should have gone with that one because it's the most logical one because it wasn't a round number.
He bought the United States for 277 million.
Yeah, basically.
Guess it was on sale.
Of course, Citizens United. Money is speech, baby.
I was devastated the day after the election.
Fuck Citizens United.
And I was substitute teaching a high school class. A couple students were in a daze. Most were just on their cell phones. What about you?
I remember one of my students asking me, what are you so excited about for a Trump presidency? And I looked at him and I said, measles. I'm excited for the return of measles.
God, that could be a whole podcast on itself with RFK and what he has planned. And
right?
Oh, God.
Measles, baby.
The way he talks. What an embarrassment.
I know.
Hey, everybody. These are my two ravens. They're not actually mine.
What is it that I am most excited for a Trump presidency? I am excited. And it goes back to JFK Jr. or whatever, RFK Jr. Yeah. You remember when Trump was making fun of the reporter? Yeah. That's you. That's you right now. You are stooping to his level. Yeah, he does have a funny sounding voice, but he's got a medical condition because of it. So, I mean, can you really make fun of him for it? All right.
Oh, God.
You can, apparently. So, what am I...
I don't like that. I don't remember. I can't do it. There was that guy on TikTok that did a really good impersonation of him. Remember? I sent you the video.
Right. I probably looked at it and was like, you're an asshole.
It was hysterical. It was funny.
Yeah, you would think it's funny because you're an asshole.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is something Rick would like.
You know what? It's Trump's America now. So
It is Trump's America. So I guess I have to watch the full videos now.
Do you have erectile dysfunction? Is your shaft not working like Samuel L. Jackson?
You didn't see this one with the guy?
I watched like the first 5 seconds. I don't need to watch the whole thing. I heard.
You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't need to see it again. I don't want to see it again.
Anyway, but RFK.
I am excited for not seeing direct to customer pharmaceutical ads.
But that's not going to happen. The pharmaceutical companies are like the oil companies. They control our world.
They control everything.
They will give RFK that multi-billion-dollar check, and he'll be like, okay.
Pharmaceutical ads and medical ads, they make up 30% of the TV ads that we see direct to consumers.
And when they give you the warnings, they're like, side effects, man.
There's so many side effects.
Yeah, they talk about it so fast like this. Who talks like this so fast?
Well, they speed it up.
Yeah.
Or they hire someone to talk really fast.
Or JJ
because they have to say it at the end because they have to tell you what to say.
Remember that song? Same thing?
Nope. I don't remember that song. I'm not old.
From the 80s.
I was born in 1988.
J is for super. Oh, how's it go? S is for super, and the U is for unique. The P is for perfection, and you know that we are freaks.
It stayed in the 80s, I think.
Supersonic.
What are you most excited for a Trump presidency?
What I can say on air, I am hopeful that people will continue the fight and that we will see the light of justice. Because justice matters.
I was for certain you were going to say FAFO.
What I said on air.
Oh, well, you can say it off air. You can't.
You know what I want to say off. I've already said it.
Rick wants people to fuck around and find out.
And they are. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. After the election, what was the 2 top ranked search terms on Google? How to change my vote. And what is a tariff?
What is a tariff? Oh my God, our prices are going up. People just didn't know. They just didn't know. They just didn't, because they were told. They were told it's all going to be all right. Prices are going to be low. We're going to do everything we can to make everybody. But then, oh, by the way, we're going to pull the rug. And those tariffs are going to stay because it's going to be good for the money makers, the industry, the economy, and it's going to bring all that money to our American companies, but it's going to cost the American people because who's going to pay? It's going to be the consumer. It's not going to be the big businesses. They're the ones going to be making a lot of money.
I almost exploded.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did you eat?
No, I mean like trigger blew up, but
let's trigger Richter. What almost triggered you, Richter?
I don't need to say anything. I haven't said any bad words. I'm going to let a previous CNN news anchor do it for me.
Okay.
His name is Don Lemon.
Oh, D. Lemon.
Do you know what he said?
No.
He's doing it for me.
Okay.
Because I almost went off and I've not said any bad words on this podcast tonight. You ready? He made headlines.
By the way, my Let's Trigger Richter was going to be FAFO.
Yeah, but like it works. Yeah, that's okay.
Just so you know, I just want to look like I didn't forget the Trigger Richter.
All right, so ready?
Maybe I did forget the Trigger Richter.
If you get rid of those folks, then the tech folks can't do their jobs, the technology industry. Just as if you try to get rid of the migrants and some of the folks who come here, quite honestly, illegally, then you can't. Then folks in the farming industry, in the service industries, And in any other industries, they won't be able to do their jobs. Some farmers say, without these workers, they have about 2 days that they can run their farms. And then after that, it's over. Oh my gosh, I love this. Now you're finding out, you dumb fucking idiots. Now you're just figuring this shit out. You're so fucking stupid and you deserve it. You fucking deserve it because you're so dumb. Jim, it's hypocrisy. So go with me here. Yes, I am gloating over your stupidity and how you were taken. I'm cackling in Kamala, says in Shanta. You have been co-opted because you're in a fucking cult and you don't even realize it because you have stupid MAGA brain and you don't get it. How stupid and dumb are you?
And that's what America's going to be all about. It's going to be about pumping things up, getting people excited about it, taking advantage of people and pulling the rug and leaving people hurt. Right?
There'll be no more middle class.
No. And the crazy part is when you remove a middle class, you can't push those people up to the upper class because there's no room. They don't want them up there. You have to push everybody down to the lower class. And that's dangerous for the people in the upper class because Luigi.
Yes. Deny. Defend. Depose.
The end.
Well, you can find me on x.com and Blue Sky and Instagram and Facebook and our website, www.breakitdownwithrickandtim.com. Here's my social. I'm easy to find. Not many people are named Richter.
I don't think I use any of my social media. I forgot it. Here it is.
And if you want to reach Tim, it's right there.
If you really want to reach me, reach Rick and then ask for me because Rick can reach me.
Or if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment down below.
Do that, yeah. 'Cause I might comment back, maybe.
The plan for the next episode will be about Tim's hero, this Bishop guy for immigration. Or Miller, what's his name?
Oh, Stephen Miller. Yeah,
that's Tim's hero.
Yeah, he's basically like if Voldemort had a son, wanted to get into politics but wasn't cool enough.
God, imagine if he and Musk teamed up.
I don't care.
And had like a baby?
No, just like teamed up for real.
Oh, yeah. Well, they kind of are. I mean, they're still in the same. Well, if I don't know. That'd be bad.
But sadly, Steve Bannon is out of the club and looking in.
I know. That's kind of sad.
Yeah. We
Poor
saw
Steve.
the MAGA infighting. Anyways, it's going to be about immigration. And it's going to be a sad and depressing topic because it affects people we know and our students.
Indeed.
And then my goal after that is to have a more positive, lighter podcast episode on, I don't know, drones,
the
New
nukes.
Jersey. Are they alien?
The dirty bombs.
Are they Chinese? Were they looking for dirty bombs?
Right. Do the aliens that have just revealed themselves want us?
And why did the media all of a sudden just
Or
drop
are they
it and
just
stop talking about it?
us?
Why did they stop talking about it?
That's a good question.
I hate that, how
So many-
we're
so many
constantly being
questions.
spoon-fed stuff. And
Join us next week.
To take us out is V, from Under the Desk News to explain Elon Musk's Nazi salute at Trump's vile inauguration.
Today at one of Trump's inauguration events, Elon Musk made this gesture from the stage, and a lot of folks were like, that looks like a Sig Heil. And then other people were like, no, it's just a Roman salute. And so I was curious what, if any, the difference between those two gestures is. And I found that the common belief is that the Roman salute involves loosely holding your arm up with your palm down, while the Sig Heil looks like this. It is a stiff, higher arm salute. And Elon kind of like grabbed his heart and then did the stiff arm one. But it doesn't really matter because it turns out both of them are symbols of fascism.